Hello everyone and welcome to Old World. In today's video we'll be doing a multiplayer match between myself and our good friend Jams from the Discord community. You can check out Jams at his own YouTube channel where he'll be posting his perspective. I had a little bit of audio issues. I accidentally forgot to have my mic on while recording this video, so I'm taking some time to rewatch this first part just to provide some audio commentary for you fine folks to listen over. We have our settings up here on the right. You can pause and take a look at them, but mostly continents, small dual continent map, mirror map, competitive mode. Some settings that I find interesting, which I'm sure you'll see my scroll bar call attention to in the next few minutes, is allow negative cognomens. I find that one interesting in a multiplayer setting. I'm not sure how that conflicts with competitive mode, because I'm pretty sure competitive mode disables those. And but basically the big thing about that is that if you allow negative cognomens and you suffer a bunch of military losses, you can end up losing legitimacy. You can take a big legitimacy hit. Jams takes first pick, and at this moment I'm thinking that I'm going to run the Hittites. I really like the Hittites. This is a good Hittite spot. Particularly it's a good landowner spot, but we know that the Hittites start with husbandry, so we have access to that horse right away. I slightly debate whether I want to open with riders, but we know that I'm going to go landowners because I really like the 3 extra citizens to start, and I also like landowners when you have iron. It's very nice to get that iron on quickly. Axum has labor force. They start out with labor force right away, which gives them the ability to get spears. So I'm a little dubious. They have also administration and trapping. I'm a little dubious running a nation that relies on horses so much. This is not necessarily the best play. I would argue with a champions nation that is only 1 tech away from getting phalanx. I would say that that is a nation that counters a nation like Hattie, for sure. But, I'm not going... This is a friendly game between, 2 players. I'm not going crazy here. I'm playing what I like. I'm trying some things out. I really like opening with Hittite Schemers. So, not the end of the world. But when you're thinking about this competitively, right, if you have second pick, a better example, a better nation to run someone like the Hittites and try to do maybe chariot rushes, or Persia, right, chariot rushes, would be anybody who doesn't start with ironworking. So we're looking at nations like Assyria, although Assyria does have champions. So probably the best suggestion I would have would be you could chariot rush potentially Babylon. You could chariot rush Carthage, but you're going to have a hard time with their tribal units. Although, maybe your horses will make quick use of their tribal units. Quick work, rather. Babylon's a good target. Who else? Egypt has ironworking, labor force, so you don't want to do that. Who else has slingers? Pretty much anybody who starts slingers. Kush would be another good target. Kush would be another target. Babylon would be a target. And then next up, the people who start with ironworking but don't have labor force, obviously. So you could probably make... Well, actually, you wouldn't want to do a horse-heavy strategy against Greece because they have the hoplite, and that's just disgusting. So, but champions in particular is someone who you want to be mindful of in rushing in general, because they have just such strong output. They can match you very easily, especially if you're not a champion nation. I'm noticing here that we have some issue with the turnstile. So basically with strict, it limits certain actions like being able to type or even being able to decide what tech path you're going to take in your game. We're also taking a look at our governors here. So a builder to start would be nice, as well as a judge. Both are good, strong opening governors. I don't believe I decide to go ahead to assign one, but we'll see. Yep, and we'll take another peek at the settings again. Keep in mind this is a mirror map, which means everything that you can see on my side of the map, Jams is going with on his side of the map as well. Yep, this is me noting the use of negative cognomens, and I'm also a little surprised with competitive mode. I don't mind competitive mode. It just... I wouldn't have been surprised if Jams had selected to opt out of competitive mode. But that's actually good. That makes us a little bit more even with me picking a schemer, because both players get a science boost, and the yields, the character yield impact is reduced a little bit. So with me starting as a schemer, that kind of blunts the impact a little bit. We don't know yet what he started with. My game plan here is to just get spoked wheel right out of the gate. That way I can get the heavy chariot. It's only 300 science to get a 6 strength unit, so it's pretty good and quick. This is an opener that I do every now and then. Especially, it's especially useful for clearing, right? Not necessarily about conquering early or rushing another opponent, but even without the chariots themselves, that free heavy chariot can really set you up with some solid clear momentum, because it's just, you can get a 6 strength unit in the first 20 turns, and it just really doesn't get much better than that, All right, we're moving along now. We just got an event to reveal some tiles. Just because the other option I believe was to take an event. Exploration ambition, I believe it was. But I wanted to, that helps me to identify where my nearest camp is, and I want to start clearing that. But we resolved our turnstile issues, and yeah, we're now going to do simultaneous until we're ready for conflict, which is a really, really great way to do network duels. Just getting there's the occasional odd hiccup here and there. For example, you could be the first player and it could be the next turn and you're both planning on building the pyramids. Technically that does allow the second player to build wonders out of turn, but really that's... And maybe things like, harvesting a resource or whatever. But really that's the only... Or like if you're moving a scout around and someone has the ability to kill a scout, that can create a little bit of a hiccup here and there. But for the most part, simultaneous turns is very, very good to set up a game. It looks like we have a mountain pass, which is another not great thing for a nation that's thinking maybe they want to make a horse play, because we're talking obstruction. The main dynamic outside of spears, right, when you're thinking for making a horse play is speed, right? So how quickly can you cross the map to start disrupting your opponent? So if we end up boxed in here by mountains, then that's going to degrade the value of my strategy. But again, remember, it's not necessarily about attacking the opponent. This chariot play is also going to set me up to expand quite rapidly, and with these schemer on the throne, I'll also have the orders to do it. The schemer is the great opening archetype, and so some of the strengths we can discuss, and I'm sure I'll reference them over and over again throughout the video, is that you have high science rate to begin with, which allows you to get... I harvested that on purpose in the event to try and get an event. And we're going to focus on growth over here because my priority is high growth in the capital to start. That way I can build my first round of settlers pretty easily. So yes, you have high science rate on your schemer to open with, which will allow you basically to kind of set up your opening tech path pretty efficiently. One of the biggest handicaps of being a schemer to open, and I fall into this constantly, and I'm sure I'll even fall into that in this very game, is you can have such a high science rate due to your character stats that you can forget to invest heavily in science early on, which will ultimately put you in a really crappy situation once your ruler dies, because your opponent, assuming they aren't running a science archetype like a scholar or a schemer, is less likely to fall into that same trap. So they're investing in their raw science, such as building acolytes and, other important things that you need to build to get science, while it's easier to lose track of that as a schemer, and then your schemer is dead, your science plummets while your opponent's science is pretty high. Here we go for the food boost, and the main reason why I want to do that is to just A, get myself the resources I need to build more settlers to keep expanding rapidly, and then B, I also want to, some nice traders resources over here. I'm hoping that we'll have a city site for traders, but it doesn't look like that's on the table. And then the other reason why I'm doing food boost is to cycle the deck to spoked wheel quicker. This is a quick way to beeline things. You just ultimately choose the lowest cost tech in your hand. So if you're trying to get to a specific destination, rather than making your decision on what techs are in your hand based off of things you could use, which you can still do that, of course, right? There's an added bonus to the food boost, which is I'm building settlers, so it's still going to come in handy. But more importantly, if you're on your way to a specific destination, like I really want spoked wheel as quickly as possible, well then, even though drama is a high value tech, sometimes you can make the decision to pick something else just because it's cheaper. Now, this can go in a lot of different ways. For the record, I don't actually think beelining spoked wheel is a particularly optimal path. It is something I like to do. Like I said, the main benefit here with the Hittites specifically is you get your unique unit, and that really increases your clear time. So it's almost as if by the time you have your unique unit, it's almost as if you're now a champions nation in terms of clear time, because your ability to clear is it ramps up dramatically because you have the ability to move around quickly, and you just do a lot of damage with that unit. And then of course having some regular chariots to complement it never hurts. Oftentimes as the Hittites, I will get my free chariot, and I'll just forget about building the regular chariots to go with it. We're going to do a warrior here. I'm debating adding a worker right away, but I'm going to go for a warrior because I really want to clear that camp up north. We've discovered a good trader's location, or a potential trader's location. We see the die up there. And I'm also debating whether I want to add in a granary for that extra growth. But a granary would be 4 turns anyway. So I'm going to opt to just kind of set myself up for the iron right away. And we will do the warrior over here. Military unit first in your second city, which is normally settled. We're going to do the 10 population here, and the reason for that is that it's actually very easy for landowners to get 10 population. They already start with 3. Nice, that's a very nice trader's location. That's perfect for that. They already start with 3. We're going to have 4 from settling 2 cities, and then as soon as we bring in a second landowner city, we're already going to be at 7 population, and we have high growth in the capital. So 10 population will take Besieger. Besieger's really good for clearing because it targets camps right there, we'll see. Besieger is a high value early promotion. I would rate it right up there with Steadfast itself, because ultimately, if we're talking clearing and expanding, you will be attacking into urban territories. So that's really important to think about. What would I say are high value early promotions? Steadfast is at number one. I might actually rank Besieger as number two. If you're aware that there are horses in your area, Horsebane would probably be number two, actually. So Horsebane could shoot up in priority. And so we're looking at this tech situation up top. And that's a good example of what I'm talking about. If I'm trying to get to spoked wheel as quickly as possible, we have our exploration cognomen. That's the other benefit. I'll keep cycling this in, but that's the other benefit to the schemer, is that the faster you explore the map, the quicker you get a cognomen. All right, so taking the worker would get me to spoked wheel faster. Right, this is an example where even if you don't want the worker, you just grab the worker to speed T to spoked wheel as quickly as possible. However, I am going to get labor force here because labor force's value ultimately supersedes that. So that's the kind of way that you make an assessment, right? It's like, yes, I want to get to spoked wheel quickly, but is it getting to spoked wheel quickly worth the ultimate delay that I'm going to face from labor force? So what does labor force get me? Well, first, I want freedom as my first law. Freedom, ooh, perfect, extra science. Freedom as a first law is one of the two best first laws you can get in the game, in my opinion. The other one being centralization off of aristocracy. We're also doing some cheeky fun chopping here. I have the extra orders, so I'm just going to keep clearing forests, and that's going to get me some income. And I like the idea of maybe clearing the battlefield on the other side of the map, which will be helpful for my horses. But yeah, so the two best for opening laws, in my opinion, are centralization and freedom. Another really great one is exploration. But I very rarely do exploration first, but it's just good at the start of the game. The reason for freedom is that it's going to shave time off of my settlers. So we're going to come up here and we're going to build landowners. I love having a second landowner city as quickly as possible. And we're not quite ready to clear that top camp for the traders anyway. And yeah, this is our mirror map location. I only paid the training to chop that. I would never normally do that, but I only did that because I don't know where Jams is currently with his scout, and I don't want him to notice yet that I'm chopping tiles. So when he gets out here, I just want him to think, okay, there's no forests. And now we're going to disregard the stone boost, and we're going to take spoked wheel. Because, I mean, if I'm not getting spoked wheel before turn 20, then there's just no point. Not that there's no point, but I mean, part of the idea with a schemer Hittite combo is that you want that, you really do want that heavy chariot within 20 turns, right? And again, ignore spears for a moment. Yes, I won't be able to, I won't necessarily be able to conquer him with horses because he's all the way over here. There's, well, mountains don't matter for the Hittites, which is wonderful, but there's trees and stuff in the way. However, what I will be able to do is I'll be able to swarm out of my starting area with some chariots and hopefully conquer more territory and get myself better set up than he can. And we'll see if that pays off. You know, it's hard to say. Sometimes you can kind of waste too many orders sinking into what you're going to do. And just to backtrack for a second, back to labor force, the other main advantage of me getting that is as landowners, as the Hittites already having husbandry, Judaism is very, very much on the table for you early on. So that's a reason why I didn't want to spring for the bonus worker, because labor force, freedom is a very high value first law for me, and then I know that I want to get myself Judaism early. That way it spreads to my families, and I basically resolve my family opinion issues very early and right out of the gate. Hopefully this format is still engaging for people. It's a bit of a shame that I lost the audio going in, but I mean, I'm basically explaining my thoughts as I go through them. I kind of debating, I'm doing calculations with the gold right now as to whether I want to just keep buying out from the capital all those resources. And you'll see a bit of juggling here with, I can't kill that, so there's no point in moving up and striking it this turn. And here we go, we're chopping a whole bunch more. I could be exploring more, but I really like the idea for some reason of taking this territory, these woods away from him. And all right, so now he has the ability to have spotted that. He just moved in while I took 2 forests from him. So it'll be interesting to see if he noticed. All right, and now I can come up and I can take 1 hit with this. And in the meantime, I'll just back this guy up and heal. And we'll just kind of wait and see what his scout does. He is stronger and naive. Naive is good. That means I'm teching faster than him, or at least I have more science than him total. It's also important to think, to keep track of his laws. Axum has very quick early law potential. He will, if he goes for clerics, he will have access to a law right away. He has labor force right away, so he can do slavery or freedom. He did do a champions in the capital, which makes sense. There's that iron right there. He's getting a shrine up and running. So that means he has divination. Yep. He had not moved that scout. And we'll just take a peek and see where he settled. All right, yep, he took his free sight's clerics. Yeah, so that means he does have divination. Not divination, divine rule, forgive me. And we have the orders, so we'll fireproof, and we'll always take a courtier. I love taking courtiers early. It's a real important thing that I like to do. Hit that once. And we'll just heal this guy. Or add a general, perhaps. Yeah, we'll add a general. Yeah, that'll do that nicely. And the reason why I'm juggling like that is because it's not like I can kill the thing in 1 turn anyway. On this turn. So if I moved up and hit him with this with that unit that was back there, I'd still have to hit him again with my ruler next turn anyway. And my ruler can already kill him in 1 hit next turn anyway. So no point in wasting that warrior moving around and spending orders on a kill that's not going to secure a hit that's not going to secure the kill. So we have 2 workers out already. Seems a bit. So that must mean to me, that tells me that he probably built a worker first in his clerics city. Makes sense. As champions, you have a little less pressure on building a second military unit right away. I personally would still build the second military unit right away. All right. Oh, yes. So here I debate doing something. I could, if I were playing more ruthless, a very, very devious and mischievous tactic that you can do with the schemer, we're going to get our pasture set up, because now we're going to aim for Judaism. All right, we get that legitimacy. So he's got a settler right there, right? And his settler can come up and take this city. If on the next turn I take this schemer and step onto that city site, he would have to move his hero back to try and kill my scout, right? And he won't be able to do it in one hit. There's like no way he can do it in one hit. So even if I can't block the site indefinitely, I can delay him from settling one turn, because he would, and waste his orders, right? So he would have to make a decision. He's either going to come back and try to kill me, but as soon as he hits me once, I'm going to just jump into the woods, right? Or he would have to decide to just move forward to the next camp and keep clearing. So this could be a huge thing. I'm going to declare war on him just for the orders. But I'm just going to let you know now, I do decide not to mess with him this way. And the main reason for that, and, you know, all respect to Jams, it's just, there's already a little bit of a skill gap. Not skills. I don't want to phrase it that way, but I just don't feel like the level of play that seems appropriate for this matchup, and I do talk about that a little bit. And so yeah, I just decide not to do it. And it is funny though. So if you're playing this game competitively and you roll a schemer start, this is the type of stuff that you can do. You can, especially as Hittites, you know, you can cut all their woods and take all their stuff. But I could have sat there and I would have wasted at least one turn of his time. I would have wasted several orders of his time, because he would have had to backtrack, right? It was just, and momentum's key, right? So now he has his third city. Oh, and this is the other thing. He just settled his third city while I already have my third city. So I would have put him behind at least one turn further, right? So you can... Sorry. You can really mess with somebody with a schemer. I mean, they're such an appropriately named archetype. All right, so we went exploration first. Interesting. So we adopted exploration first law, which means Axumites start with administration. So that means he teched into rhetoric, although there is one ruin that gives it for free if you can afford the food cost. So what I don't know is if he took rhetoric normally, or if he got it for free, or got it through an event. So that's interesting. Coming back here to chop trees, I'm realizing if I chop trees along these hills, since the Hittites ignore hill movement, right, I'll be able to smooth along my movement out of my territory much faster, which will be helpful for my horses. I'm going to build another warrior, and in 2 turns I can get started on chariots. Which actually does remind me here that I should just import horses in 2 turns. So I'll have 2 places that can build chariots in exactly 2 turns. I do decide in this capital that I'm going to speed up the production of my chariots by opting for the minor. And then I debate moving it in front, but I realize it doesn't matter, because I still want to complete the rancher anyway. So we'll be 1 turn behind in the cap, but that's fine. The cap will produce it quicker. And that will give me, basically in 2 turns or 3, I will have 2 chariots coming down the pipeline with a potential 3rd on its way. And that's pretty solid, especially when, due to the schemer, I'm bringing in about 17 orders per turn, and you can always sell that legitimacy to speed yourself up. All right. Which I'm not doing yet. I should be doing it this early, but I save it a little bit till later. And I am spending a lot of orders on the... I did spend a lot of orders on this chopping stuff. I'm fascinated by this central blockade of mountains. We basically, I don't even know if there are any city sets in there. I must assume there are. But it's very interesting to consider the fact that we can't reach each other. Easily, anyway. There's only one entrance in and out of these two locations. I do find it fascinating that he's going for the elephant first, but that makes sense. He wants that luxury. Axum gets a free luxury. We'll take... Oh, you know what? I decide I want drama instead of divination. And the reason for that is at the end of drama, there is a free settler. And I know with my chariot timing that I will be... Nice. I know with my chariot timing that I'll clear the scrub here because remember, I'm trying to create an easy path. We have one chariot here. We're going to have another chariot coming out soon. And we'll also be building a mine here. And then I'm realizing also I'm behind on my quarry timing. It's turn 21. I haven't built a single quarry. I don't usually like that. But I have really good resources I could be improving. So, Jam's comments, sneaky. I'm not 100% sure what he meant by that, but I'm assuming he's now scouted towards my side of the map, and he must have noticed, he must have noticed that I've cut some of his woods while leaving mine up. But which is ironic because in reality I should have cut my woods. Because I can... The mountains are going to slow him down. The hills, rather, are going to slow him down regardless. So I really should have all these mountains clear for myself. But, that's okay. No one's ever going to play perfectly. You can theory craft and you can plan and you can surmise, but then you're in the game and you just forget stuff. Also, like, for example, here, I forgot to declare war on the Numidians for my free orders, but now I'm getting 2 extra free orders from the Schemer. That's the other biggest thing. Every war that you're in, you get an extra order, which means, basically, that... Nice. We're doing really good progress here on moving. I'm going to come down here. Now, I should be chopping this section, but I don't. And I want to come down there just to heal up. And I'll chop that. I'll chop that. Yep. Really making sure that I have a clear path. Now I decide I have a tactics air. And I'm deciding that between vigilant, tracker... bold, brave, divine, or steadfast. And I think I want a bold tactician air. That sounds lovely. So we go ahead and do that. And we get 150 stone, which is also wonderful. And we have our chariot coming up. I queue a second one, but then realize I don't have to, because I haven't even built the first one yet. It's important to try and keep pace. I check for chancellors, by the way. I do have the ability to make a chancellor now, which will also be useful in terms of generating good opinion, because you can use it to do family gifts. You can use it to imprison people, which is always useful. One thing we'll figure out pretty quickly on is that I kind of lose the plot when it comes to what tech path I want to explore. I expand. My main fixation right now is on expansion. He has 2 laws, 4 cities. I also have 4 cities, but only 1 law. So I'm already worried about his law timing. His 4th city is right there. So I'm going to come out here and try and set up my 5th city in good time. We have a drought, which is not ideal. I can pay for the food, which is nice. And we're definitely going to go ahead and get 6 pastures because we have that around. I'm up and attack that. And I will go ahead and force march this here to attack this guy. And we'll go ahead and Get the settler into position. Get close enough. And we'll move this scout up here to take a peek at what's going on. Wow, lots of random barbarians in the center of the map. Barbarians are annoying because they kind of just wander around. Can be pretty tricky to deal with. You can kind of lose sight of how many are nearby and what they're up to. Oh, so he's using a different family type worker to improve this. That's really smart. Kind of get himself a head start on the improvement. That's very useful. That's how he's getting that elephant online already. Makes sense. Good tactic. Good use of inter-family workers on Jams's part. I'm noticing a ruin here. Exploration would be useful to grab, though. I'd be curious if he decides to hop into the ocean and clear that central location of vision. And then, yeah, we get a big aggro of a whole bunch of shit that decides to bother us, which is just a bummer, you know? We get a crit, which is nice, but I don't have any way to capitalize on it, as in clearing the camp right now. And Jams is now out in the open fighting some horsemen. So that's nice. We'll come over here and we'll get this net. And so this one trader's location will be quite nice to get us lots and lots of income. I am debating what to do here. I think a worker is the right call, or maybe another settler while the capital is working on a chariot for me. You kind of want to make sure you keep your development ramping up. Nice. Okay, we can add a diplomat, which we like, and that's going to bring this chariot down to 5 turns, which is great. So now we have 2 chariots out in 5 turns, which is just lovely. That's a really, really nice boost of momentum. So over here, we'll decide to do a worker. And I think, yeah, move this worker, warrior up. And I should probably start moving this scout back. He's building a regular farm there, which I find interesting. And we'll get started on this elder shopkeeper right away. Oh, I have an intelligent zealot I can add into that location. But that's not really going to speed up the shopkeeper at all, so it's not worth doing right now. On the bright side, I will be able to clear this, and I'll go ahead and do that. Interesting. I'm going to go ahead and take the legitimacy. I don't mind losing the civics. We are the Hittites. We already have a good boost of civics anyway. And I have lots of options to do 10 damage to people, so we should be making some good time out here. And I'm not 100% sure where to put this city. Excuse me. I know it's going to be another landowner zone, but it's just interesting because I can't cross those mountains. So it'd be interesting if there was a way to, you know, kind of launch a worker across, but there really isn't. We'll go, yep. And see, we got our 10 population ambition pretty seamlessly due to the landowner situation. And we'll just kind of get ourselves moving up. And we'll probably do a worker here. All right. And we founded Judaism, which is fantastic. And I will pay the civics to make them like me. Ooh, right. I don't... So this is a crappy situation. I like proud, but I really don't want to risk cruel or intolerant because I already am intolerant. So I don't want to do 2 leaders that are intolerant back to back. And I certainly don't want to do cruel. Although I guess since I'm running freedom, I could have weathered cruel, but we opted to allow him to abandon his tactics profession, which might not have been the best play. We'll see how that pans out. And, right, 4 turns. We have for our heavy chariot, which is quite nice. That lines up with our 2 chariots coming out in 3 turns. So in 4 turns, we'll suddenly balloon into having 3 chariots, which will be turn 30. And again, this is less about invading. You can win this way. I've played a duel where someone, who was the opponent? In fact, like I said, it was Assyria, so it was a non-ironworking family, and they played greed heavy. So I believe they went all the way up to something like architecture first. They really wanted to build their economy and their science up. So they beelined to architecture while I was the Hittites. I got my 4 laws up and running. I don't even think I went spoked wheel, to be honest. I might have. I think I did spoked wheel too. But I got my 4 laws up and running, and I crossed the map with about 5 or 6 heavy chariots, maybe 1 or 2 regular chariots, and he didn't have spears yet, so that's pretty much GG. Spears, however, will shut that down pretty quickly. So in this situation, again, it's more about clearing. I decide mostly to hang out here, debating if I want to clear all this too, to give myself a clear pathway to coming into his territory. These rivers could be useful for exploration. That would speed up your movement slightly. I'm thinking about how getting a worker down here to build roads would make sense. Because not only do I have this territory cleared, I will be able to build roads along, which honestly probably means I didn't need to clear it at all, but I did. I had the orders, and it gets me food. It's not enough food. Lots of wood. I have 520 wood on top of having a really great economy. So, not the end of the world that I chopped, but with an early labor force and a trader's worker, the other way I could have done that would have been to just bring my worker out right away from the trader seat, build a second one, and then just start roading. That's the benefit you have of nations like Egypt and Axum who start with the ability to build roads, and in Axum's case actually has traders' workers, is you could raid out into the wilderness very, very early on. Just build yourself a handful of quarries and start roading. Speaking of quarries, now's the time that I recognize that I'm a little bit behind on my quarry momentum. So it's time for me to start getting more quarries. I also decided it's time to get a better sense of what the map is. There's another city site in the center, so now I'm thinking I can clear all the way across the map since this is all open territory, which is highly favorable to my chariots. But of course, I need to resolve this little situation I've got going on. So far, it's shaping up to be an interesting game. My science rate is 25 science per turn, but remember, a lot of that is coming from my ruler. So, important to be mindful of that. I also took that 2,000 stockpile ambition, but I knew when I took that, I'm probably not going to complete it because I'm going to be building chariots, which are 100 food a pop, and I'm also going to be building settlers. So, it's interesting. I hate the idea of losing both architecture and portcullis because I'm getting the free thing. And this is the moment that I'm kind of realizing why I highlighted over phalanx there. I've kind of was musing to the player, to the viewers, you guys, basically what I've already said about Axum with their ability to get spears very, very easily. So that's something to think about. I'm just going to heal this guy up. Or do I attack? Can I kill them with the militia? I forget. And it's quarry time. More quarries right here out in the open. Doesn't matter if they're next to mountains. I'm going to say this in every single video I make from now until the end of time in the event that people are watching me. Quarries next to mountains, of course, are important, but if you don't have immediate access to mountains, just build them anywhere, especially if they're on arid flat, but even if they're not, just build your quarries. So I think I make note right here, yeah, Jams, well done, good job. This is exactly what you're supposed to be doing, because unlike me, he doesn't have landowners, so he cannot buy tiles to get close to these mountains down here, right? So what is Jams doing? Jams is doing the correct thing, and he's building quarries right where, like right on the spot, wherever he can. He'll probably make a little triangle of them, and good for him, because you need that stone income, right? You can't wait 45 turns. Oh, this guy's probably going to take that camp, but that's fine. We'll clear it again. You can't, and we're getting raided over here. But you can't wait 45 turns to put down a quarry. That just doesn't make sense. Otherwise, why the hell did you tech stone cutting? You could have just teched anywhere else. Of course, stone cutting leads to other good technologies, but you're just wasting your economic potential. So kudos to Jam for building those flatland quarries, and I'm always going to go on this rant in 90% of every game and every video I ever make, because for every player that watches this content, I want you to know that if you're not building flatland quarries, I hate to say it, but you're doing it wrong. That's one of the few hardline stances I'll take where you're just flat out doing it wrong. You need your quarries, build them early, build them off them, build them flat if you have to. So, end rant. Now, though, we have our chariots coming out. So we're very pleased with this, because look at all this damage we're doing. This is the type of thing that I'm talking about. Unpromoted, no generals, and you're doing at least 9 damage to these guys. So my clearing potential has just spiked, almost as if I am a champion's nation, right? Which is just fantastic. We'll do Warden down here. And we'll just kind of try and get this camp down. Not going to happen this turn, but that's all right. So we'll go over here and take a hit on this guy. Yep. And so this was interesting. I talked about this, my hitting of Jams as scout. So we're on simultaneous. So technically speaking, we should be, I should have probably typed to him, but I kind of was, I could have killed his scout, but rather than killing his scout, I kind of would just chose, basically I described this in detail, what I was opting to do, but it seemed as if Jams had forgotten his scout was just standing right there or wasn't prioritizing moving it. So I opted, I was going to get it down low health, and then I was going to be like, hey, you like need to move your scout or I'm going to kill it. Basically, I decided to take a couple of pokes as like a punishment thing. But rather than as you can see, all of the units in the area absolutely could have killed the thing, but I chose not to kill it, basically. But I basically arrived at a compromise where I wasn't going to kill it, but I was going to damage it to kind of be like, hey, pay attention to your stuff. I also knew he would be getting the notifications on his end that he was getting attacked by something. So I was curious if he would be checking, paying attention, or whatever. A little bit out of turn when it comes to the simultaneous versus, but I didn't want to do the whole, it just didn't make sense to have us change the turnstile just because his scout's sitting right there, right? So my plan was to get it low. All right, and now we're already at Intrepid, so this is the big bonus here of a schemer, right? My legitimacy is quite high. I already have a plus 50 legitimacy cog. So again, now our orders are at 20 orders per turn, which is pretty solid. And we're going to come in here and get 2 kills, I believe. Yep. This is just so great. This is the benefit of the heavy chariot. You have your routing. Yeah, so see, I could have killed that guy with that horse, but I'm kind of electing not to. I'm also realizing that I need to get my pastures online. So I have 2 pastures right here. I'm going to go ahead and get myself in position to do that. And there goes his scout, which is great. So I got my poke or 2. I forget how many times I hit it. And that was a little bit of a, hey, Jams, You know, pay attention, move your stuff. And yeah, I think I had elected that if I think I was basically going to hit it every other turn or so with the militia, and if he hadn't moved it in the time it took me to kill it, I would have just killed it. But I mean, at that point, it's 100% on him. You know, you're getting struck by a militia like every other turn or every turn or so, and you're not moving your thing. I mean, that's just on you at that point. Rather than killing it outright. So I feel like that felt like a fair way to handle that situation, rather than just have him have both of us to go back to slowing down the game. All right, so now I want to get a worker over here to deal with this pasture to get our ambition online. We have another chariot coming out in 4 turns and another one coming out in 6 turns. So this is the kind of level of output that you can do. And again, it's really unfortunate because just even a single spear can massively shut down this down. So it's a risky play against a human, because if they clock that you're doing this, then you just need to make sure that you're leveraging it in a way that's helpful for you. And what that is by expanding. So I am planning to do that. But it's very easy to kind of get this output and run into a situation where you can't do anything with it, because suddenly you get to the other side of the map and you're staring at 3 spears, and 3 spears can counter, I don't know, 6 chariots. It's pretty egregious. All right, let's have a look here. And have a look here. We're going to take another peek. We also need to make sure we identify what laws he has. And we have our first rising star, which is nice. And we're going to go here. We're going to just chop all this. Probably don't need to. Again, we should be just roading, but simple enough. And I'll head out here and I'll heal. And we'll head out into the wilderness. Oh, I misclicked. I did not mean to chop the woods there, but I did anyway. And now we're getting, because the other good thing about getting such a high cognomen early with the schemer is that it gives you that buffer that you're going to need to spend your legitimacy on orders. Everybody gets a little, nervous about spending early legitimacy. And, it's only turn 32 on orders. All right, so he has a settler coming out. I'm deeply curious about where he's at. But with the schemer, you have the ability to get so much extra legitimacy that it kind of balances out. So you're just able to get like an extra 10 orders per turn or every other turn, right? And that's just such a powerful opening ability. Okay, ouch, ouch, ouch. Now, I do mess this up. I should back this guy off and put the heavy in the center there, but I don't. I do it wrong, which I get grumpy about, but that's okay. I think we make the situation all right regardless. Let's take a look. All right, yep, so we can route there. Yeah, and then we just come up here with the guy. And then we're going to decide to buy ourselves more orders because we want this settler to come up quickly. And now we recognize that we can kill that. So, it still worked, but it would have been, I wouldn't have needed to move the militia if I just moved the warrior, which I guess would have been, yeah, and I came down here to check to see if he was dealing with that raid situation that I also got on my side, and he did. So I guess technically the order's spent. Wow, more camps down here. Right? So there's all opportunities to clear and take more and more territory. And we're going to go ahead and buy another 5-turn settler. And this is interesting. the citizen is useful, but I decide to opt for the rebels, and I do that mostly because I have a lot of guys in that region including my heavy. And also, the rebels no longer add discontent when they strike your city, so it's less of a burden to deal with them. So I have no issue just dodging the discontent cost because yeah, look, we're gonna kill this guy pretty easily. That's gonna be 1. That's gonna be 2. Now we're on the lion cognomen, which is also very important to be getting. And yeah, there we go. Clear that out. And I'm just gonna decide to come right up here. Now I think we scout a little bit more. Yep. And look how generously I'm using this orders. Now, it is important to be efficient with your orders, and I'm not going to make the suggestion that I am being the most efficient with my orders, just to be clear. I think I am making good progress clearing rapidly, but I'm sure there are ways where I could spruce up this efficiency. So basically, you just want to make sure that if you're slamming that purchase button on your orders and spending that legitimacy, you just want to be getting your value for it. And for me, what that's going to translate to here in this game is my ability to expand rapidly. I also already have a religion. I have my Judaism founded, so that's going to set me up with an opinion buffer. Right, so my goal here is to expand quickly, get my religion spread to my locations, and basically have happy families. It's turn 34. I don't even have divination yet. I opt for navigation next because I'm thinking that the serfdom orders will help me continue to expand, continue to move my units. This is the difficulty. One difficulty here. I'm basically deciding I'm going to forward settle into this location right over here with the horses, put a rider's city there, since I have the ability to build chariots anyway, and there is a horse in that location. However, he now has 4 laws, by the way, which is terrifying. He's building a garrison, which is also terrifying. So we're really running out of time to rush him. So I'm basically at a point where even though I'm going to advance in that direction, I know that a rush is effectively off the table. I'll probably lose more than I gain trying to kill him because I don't think I'd be able to kill him. And I could be wrong about this. I get wrong about this pretty consistently. It's one of the ways I often lose games. Oh, that's so frustrating. I could have come up here with the chariot instead, and I did. Oh, here we go. Great. And this is huge. I get a horseman and a horse archer, and we absolutely take the horse archer. And I can spend some moments talking about why. The horse archer is going to do very, very good damage against spears when they come online. And that's just super important. So we're going to come up here, and we're going to start clearing this camp. And yeah, we're going to just take this settler and we'll start running right across the map. It's so the horse archer is very good counter to spears, and to explain how that makes sense, spears do strong damage to melee. They do strong damage to, how does it work? I forget the exact wording of it, but basically speaking, they're going to do a lot of damage to horse units regardless, right? However, I think that's what it is. It's in melee combat, right? So their damage is melee combat oriented. So if they're receiving damage from a melee horse, it's reduced by whatever percentage it is. It's like 25 or 50%, right? And if they're dealing melee combat damage, which they do because they're spears, they will do more damage against horses, right? So what does a horse archer does? What a horse archer does is it deals ranged damage. So even though they take the full amount of damage from a spear as normally, they actually deal their full amount of damage to spears in return. I'm also noticing that we have wonders in the game, so I'm going to make a play here for the Ishtar Gate. The lighthouse is in the game. All of these are really, really great. Colosseum is in the game. That's great. Museum. And yep, we have the pyramids. So basically, I'm realizing I have the gold to purchase some wonders. And of course, I have the civics because I don't have any laws. So I'm thinking that in a couple of turns, it's time to buy some wonders as a kind of counter to Jams's laws. And this is a really fun thing that I do. I have the opportunity to sign peace with the Numidians. So what I choose to do is to come over here. Look at all this movement. It's just such great clear potential. I come up here. Now I'm at the Invincible, which is great. I get this event. Take the legitimacy here. And yep, and then I just decide to sign peace. We have a diplomat on the throne. We hate that, but we take the tactician anyway. Yeah, so that gives me the last camp that I necessarily need to clear right now, which is pretty decent. And now is when I'm thinking, oh yeah, I should build some roads, by the way. Yep, and we have our traders worker coming up, ready to start building workers. And then, yeah, we're going to spend more legitimacy to just keep it rolling. No reason not to. Healing up. So now I have 3 camps I can clear. I completely cleared. And I have 1 more settler on the way. I have 1 settler out in the field, so this is where I decide I'm going to forward settle. And the risk of forward settling, I do not recommend this if you're not... Oh, he's weaker, which is also important, but now he's just got his first spear, and I'm going to identify basically the damage potential here. So I'm going to grab this spear, and I'm going to be like, oh, look at that. That's awful. He does 11 damage to my horse, and my horse does only 3 to him. That just sucks a bunch. So, and that right there in a nutshell just... showcases why even just a single spear unit has the potential of shutting a chariot rush down in its tracks. Because he also, notice how we put a tactician on that spear. Very, very good play from Jams's part, because now if any of my units try to attack him, they're going to get damaged a great deal. And they're going to do a lot of damage. They'll do a little damage to the spear, but they'll take a lot in return. Another valuable use of the horse archer, by the way, is that the tactician won't do shit to the horse archer. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll take this free settler, since we have these extra locations. I can't decide if that... I can't tell if that went through. Yep, so we're converting to strict because what I am thinking about doing is harassing him in this moment. Get more legitimacy, which is nice. Oh, I think we decide to opt for the Judaism spread. Yeah. And the influence. Or just the Judaism spread. Yeah. One thing I noticed, but I don't go for it, is that I could prevent his units from exiting that corridor by positioning a guy in those woods. I do talk about it at some point, but I don't end up going through with it, which I would rate as a blunder on my part. However, we are close to settling our forward city. And we have a new one down here. Oh, right. So we don't need to go for that free settler because we have all of the cities that we're going to settle for right now. Because we have one settler next. Coming up next from Samuha. I had forgotten that Adatiwawa or Adatiwata had built a settler. All right, so we have 2 well-promoted slingers. And I see, I should have come up for that. Oh, I can't force march. That's the thing. I'm using all my training already. I've been using so much of it. I keep forgetting that I don't have any training. So one thing I'm hoping, I don't know that this is true, but one thing I am hoping for is that my order economy is better than his, because what that means is by me harassing him and getting him to respond with his orders, in theory, it taxes him more than it taxes me. But with how much I'm moving, that's probably not the case at all, because I'm moving so much of my units in this territory. But again, remember, the main goal was expansion, and I have achieved that goal. I decide to opt for trapping, by the way. Let's explain that. Because I run into this problem where I get so tunnel visioned, where I'm like, I have my chariots and I have my warriors, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. And then I don't end up with any range units. And with dealing with spears, a bunch of slingers will be very, very useful to try and deal with spears. So I decide that trapping is pretty essential. All right, now we are at a point where it's on strict settings. So I might get back into my old habit. Oh no, I guess it's tight, so I can still do some things. Yes, this is where I decide that it's time to build some wonders. And I'm going to check momentarily. There's the Ishtar Gate. I'm going to check momentarily to see if the double victory is turned on. He's weaker still. 5 cities. My science rate is 31, but 9.6 of it is coming from myself, which is not great. But we want to make sure, but with the Ishtar Gate, that does set me up for a double. So now I'm thinking I might have to redeclare war on the Numidians. And gain some territory. Yeah, these well-promoted slingers, man, will do some serious damage to me out in the open. So it's a bit of a catch-22 to clearing these trees, is that it does set him up. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and purchase this right away. And then what's lovely is that we'll be able to purchase the pyramids too. So we're going to do this back to back. We're very close. We're going to just sell some iron. And that's 4 victory points to me right there. And it's going to upgrade all of my cities. And now I'm realizing that I don't have the money the stone to build more roads. Oh, you know what I'm just noticing? I didn't notice this in the game, but I'm noticing this while watching it and providing this commentary, that the Yaz is also in the game, and I probably should have opted for that instead of the pyramids. So maybe when we get back into it. Okay, now we have the opportunity to get a Rising Star Grand Vizier. Lots and lots of civics production everywhere, which I like. So now my civics rate is 75 per turn, which will open up me the possibility to wonder spam a little bit more. So I'll need to build more quarries, but I do lose the ability to attack him outright. If I had a Zealot General on one of these guys, I'd be more risky to run up and attack. This is a moment where I'm debating a lot. Like if I want to kind of cut him off at the pass And I'll be honest, I don't think I'm 100% satisfied with how I handled this situation. I'm pretty much resigned to the idea that I'm not in a position to wipe him out anymore. It's amazing, and I could just be too timid, right? But it's amazing what even just one spear. I have everything that you see here, and he is weaker, but that one spear is enough to just put the fear of God in me. And that's probably not good, because I could just take out his slingers. I just hate the idea of like taking out one slinger and then losing a chariot in response, and then taking out another slinger and then losing another chariot in response. That's the reason why I'm so hesitant to go after this. So what I do here is I move up, and this is mostly just harass. Like I said, I'm not 100% satisfied with this decision, but I do this to make him nervous. I know he can't kill anything here, so I'm not losing off of anything. I'm adding some levels of discontent, 10 points a hit, not levels, but 10 points of discontent a hit to that champion city, speeding that up a little bit. So maybe that has some implications down the road, and more importantly, I'm kind of forcing him to think about how he's going to handle this. So he's going to move some guys up. But really, at this point, I guess we're just trading orders. So, in hindsight, I should have probably tried to take out those two slingers along the mountain pass. These horses are raiding Axum, which I'm happy about. But then they take an interesting turn, which I become less happy about. We'll see that pan out. All right. Yeah, so this is where I'm kind of like, see, I can do 10 damage to that thing. But the biggest thing I'm concerned about, it's not even just any chariot. I am worried about losing my heavy chariot. But, so in this particular situation, I should have come right up there and used my one warrior to block zone of control while I wiped out that slinger, those slingers with my heavies. Drop the ball on this one a bunch. Definitely drop the ball on this a bunch, because sometimes I forget about that too. I forget about that I could just block, zone of control block. I still have a lot to learn when it comes to player versus player tactics, because the humans are just so much better than the computer. You can get to a point with the computer where you can just steamroll them, so you don't really need to think as much. And that makes multiplayer tactics a difficult thing for me. I'm not the best tactician, unfortunately. But yeah, in this case, I would have moved this guy up here, created some zone control issue for him, and then, because all he has out in the open right now is slingers, so really just dealing with that one spear with this warrior would have just put him in a really, really, really tough spot and set him more behind than just poking his city did. He does have a hero on the throne and then a builder coming up next. That's interesting. And now, tech-wise, I decide to do something interesting. I don't really like my options, although rhetoric would have made sense for another law. Ooh, eloquent is always good. However, I decide to lean in hard and do portcullis. Portcullis will allow me to do ancient networks, still considering to come up here with this warrior, which really would have been the play. I'm also trying to see if I could kill this spear right away, which is, again, the wrong way to look at this. And that's what I'm talking about. You notice the horse archer does 7 damage to that spear, so that's good. So the wrong way to look at this is to try to kill the spear right now. The better way to have looked at this would have been to use the firepower that I have in this region, including the ranged horse archer, to kill that slinger out in the open, and then just position this warrior right to the left of where my slinger is, which would have prevented him from attacking any of my chariots. Maybe I lose the warrior, but at least in that case I'm trading one warrior for a slinger, and then maybe I can do more damage next turn against more slingers. But I don't know. I'm just not in a position where I want to lose too much to this. So I opt to just back off, I believe. Yeah. Lots of different strategic planning. See, because that's what I'm saying. I'll do 10 damage to that slinger, so I don't really need a lot to kill that thing. Yeah, 9. So I'm so close to being able to just do some serious damage. But we don't go with it. Instead, we opt to play it safe. I come back and heal this guy up, and then I decide to chop on my way out. Right? Yeah, we come here. And the main reason why I do this is I want to make sure that this goes both ways, because he's got a lot of slingers. But I basically want to create an open battleground where if we're going to fight, well, he's going to be on flat land, so I'm going to do more damage as horses. And I guess I'll be in the open, so he'll do more damage with his slingers. But he's also going to have to decide at some point whether he wants spearmen or his unique unit, which he's close to building, right? So keep in mind, he only has he has his champ seat, right? And then he only has one other champion city, which he will be able to produce out of once I leave it alone. A little bit better. All right, so we're fully connected, which is nice. Those 2 cities in the center are riders, so they're connected automatically anyway. So that's pretty solid. And then, yeah, basically I'm thinking I need to just stage most of my military units in the regions to prevent him from just coming up and attacking me and taking all my stuff. So I've used my advantage to expand rapidly, but now I'm kind of like in a holding pattern of curiosity of how I'm going to handle the situation next. So definitely goes to show he has a second spear. Definitely goes to show how spears showing up again, especially with the champion nation. He can probably build those spears in like 4 or 5 turns. Excuse me. So that's not ideal. He's building his stronghold, which I also don't like. And yeah, it just goes to show how a couple of spears can really throw a wrench in your plan. So, and then these raiders have decided to be really, really big nuisance, and they take a turn for Asmara. He has 3 spears now, which just sucks. But it's okay. We have a nice river along Tuanua, which is the rider sitting near his territory. So once I'm set up to make slingers, which I am, I just need to get the resources online. We're building a bunch of warriors. That's the Grand Vizier building warriors, which, I mean, I'm not too worried about. You know, I need more bodies in the conflict. He'll probably attack the chariots, but that's okay. And we can just counterattack with warriors and stuff. The 2 main units I want to keep alive more than anything are my heavy chariot and my horse archer. The horse archer will do some decent damage to these spears regardless. Still thinking about getting the status connected. Or mostly not even the status anymore, it's the road. It's about making sure the chariots that are coming out from my homeland, the Grand Vizier is still seeing fit to build me a few more chariots, which I don't mind. Yeah, and he's moving his units up to Asmara to fully fortify. Put the Zealot on a spear, which is another crappy thing. Not much we can do about it, though. Wow, and now I have strike number 3. Wild. Wild. So that's really, really good. Horse archer coming up. And I'm hesitant to move too close because I don't want him to come up with a bunch of slingers and have a hero ruler that can launch offensive and then kind of reinforce if he has enough training, right? With a bunch of spears on a force march. I don't know how aggressive Jams is. I've never really played him. We played the free-for-all, but, you know, that's a different type of game. And he was across an ocean from me. Didn't really interact all that much. So this is more in your face. This is the moment where I'm deciding that I have the Ishtar Gate. So basically what I should be doing is prepping myself to probably pull off a double here, which, I mean, if I double victory is enabled, right? So if I double off of an Ishtar, well then this spoke wheel play and this chariot play paid off dividends, right? Because what that set me up to do is expand rapidly across the map. I have 2, 4, 6, 8 cities now. I would be able to settle a total of 10, and then the Ishtar double along with the pyramids would get me 24 points, and that's enough to double it out. And all I need to do is make sure that I have more than 12 points. So that's something to think about. That's something to work towards. More wonders. I'm sort of strategizing towards my next game now. I apologize again that this isn't live, but that's something to think. Oh, this is fun. So now I notice he takes his 3 spears and he fortifies. So there's literally nothing I can do now. I cannot break into that. I have no firepower to break into that. One's a tactician, one's a zealot. He's building a fort. Well played. I do not have ranged units, enough of them anyway, and I don't have axes, so there is nothing I can do to break into that. So that's very, very interesting. Yeah, and I commend him on his decision to fortify there. Now, that said, it's an interesting proposition here because all of that's orders, right? To get fully fortified, he's going to be spending an order per turn. So he's opting, and he's building a fort. So he's actually opting. I did think of this later on when reflecting back on this. He's actually opting to spend 4 orders per turn for that defensive position. So even that, I kind of... This is the interesting way where it's like, I've undoubtedly wasted a handful of orders on several different turns doing what I'm doing and not really getting a return on that investment. But it's interesting because also forcing some of his reactions and his movements is draining his order economy as well. So it's always interesting to see like who gains more or who gains less. My big concern in this situation right now is his science rate, right? How well is his science game? I don't know that. And I know that mine is going pretty well. I know he's naive to me, which is good. I have more technology. I have more investment in technology right now. But he has 4 laws. I still only have 2. And my science rate, most of my science rate is wrapped up in my character. So once my ruler dies, that's just a big problem. But I do set myself up down here to try and expand more. This is what we're thinking of now. We're going to get steadfast, and we're going to try and expand some more. Right. And I think my ultimate play here is to double out off of the Ishtar Gate. And that's the clock he's up against, right? So now I create this pressure. My Ishtar is secured. I have lots and lots of territory. I still need to build towards the long-term game if he can prevent this from happening. But it should be interesting to see how that pans out. Yep. Also, it's time to get more quarries because, again, Wonder Spam will help you with a double. So, and again, see there, he's got his 3 flatland quarries and he's got 1 by the mountain. So that's some good quarry production from him. I need to think about where I'm going to put my agents. That's another reason why I'm going portcullis. If he does have better raw science output than me, well, at least maybe I'll be able to siphon some science off of him through my agent networks. And I'm hoping, I haven't really even checked, but I'm hoping I can get a good character that makes a good spy master. So maybe I can just keep the character-based science flowing even after my death. You know, not ideal. I don't like relying heavily on character-based science because it's volatile, right? If you have a guy die, like we could get a plague, and if a plague devastates my council, then I'm kind of screwed if I'm relying on characters to be my science base. But I'm very pleased with my opinion output right now. We have very strong opinion, which is good. Yep, so he's similar in strength now, which is just dreadful, but he's still naive in tech. I'm thinking, this is funny, I'm thinking, oh man, I need this free ballista to deal with these guys, but then I decide, why would I go to composite? Maybe I just go straight to hydraulics in response instead. This is what I'm talking about. I'm a little in a situation where this is and I run into this issue specifically, I think, with this strategy quite often, this chariot strategy. You get into a situation where you get all this you need units, you get this expansion, right? You have this early baseline of science. But sometimes you can put yourself in a situation where you kind of go, oh shit, now what? I'm thinking I want to expand more, though. Set myself up with more of a points potential through expansion. You know, in hindsight, I didn't want a diplomat ruler, right? However, a diplomat ruler in the current landscape might come in handy because I wouldn't have to attack the Numidians again. So he has about 4, maybe 5. I'm trying to figure out how many slingers he has over here. And I can't build anything because my Grand Vizier is in power. And the thing about the Grand Vizier, I'm making 100 civics per turn. I kind of don't even want him to not be in power because I'm just making amazing civics output, right? So I'm willing to take the efficiency hit. Checking out his hero. Robust is another important thing. He's going to lose 2.5 orders. I'm also checking out his cognomen. He had the good, which I know is a 50 legitimacy cognomen, so I just confirmed that for myself. And he has his 4 laws. He's still similar. He's still naive. Yeah, so my Grand Vizier is building a bunch of warriors, which is fine, but what I want him to build is slingers. Yes, so this is an interesting decision I make. I decide right here, I got ahead of myself. I decide right here that I don't want a diplomat. I already have an heir. So yeah, whatever. I'll just exclude him from the succession, make the Grand Vizier even happier, because he's governing everywhere anyway, so that's going to help with my opinion. And I say no to the Grand Vizier, and I'm going to regret that in a moment, and I'll land on why once we see why. Yeah, so there's 5 slingers here, 3 generals, 1 hero, a commander, a zealot. He has a lot. His training output is crazy because he's a hero, and he's champions, and everything sucks. So he has well promoted units, which is a bummer. I don't appreciate the effort that it's taking. Okay. I opt to adopt this robust fellow. I did this on the assumption that he was going to become the new heir, but I forgot that I already have a grandchild heir, so he won't be replaced by my son because my current heir is a grandchild. I was hoping that the robust guy would have replaced this younger child, and the reason for that is because I would have liked to put him as a tactician ruler and have him grow up. I believe that character was 12 years old, so I could have put him as tactics, have him grow up in just 6 turns, and then maybe I have a commander or a zealot. A zealot would be really great on the throne in just in the 10 turns that I'm probably going to die because I'm getting pretty old. So I like to use adoption and things like that to micromanage heirs. It's interesting because the majority of the schemer's abilities revolve around spending legitimacy. So that adoption was from an event, and I still had to pay 2 legitimacy, but the schemer himself can adopt whomever he wants, and you're still paying legitimacy in that case, so that's interesting. Getting lots of upgrades on the stats. So we have insane... I actually haven't been tracking my income here, but most of our income is coming from my character as well. So I'm in for a bit of a reckoning once once I die, once the secession kicks in and things change. He can see a lot of stuff. I'm trying to debate, and one thing I actually don't clock until the end of this game is I have the ability to build ships. So I could do some cheeky stuff with some naval stuff. I debate the idea of using ships to go completely around his spear shield wall and basically ruin his day that way. This is what my governor is currently doing. It's crazy. That 6 growth, 8 civics, 8 training. It's because he's governing. He's the governor of almost every single city. So he's adding a tremendous amount of growth everywhere. Tremendous amount of civics and stuff like that. So that's hard to pass up. I do realize at some point, I actually think that moment might be coming up where I need slingers, but I'm not building any slingers, and I'm not doing that because I don't have the stone. So it's important for me to get myself some stone. He has another general now, and keep in mind that I don't have any generals coming out lined up on my stuff because I can't afford them. This river area is what I'm talking about down here. I kind of want to chop all of this stuff and then set myself up behind the river. I need a worker out here so I could build forts of my own. That would be useful. Kind of need to... I don't actually have a single rider's worker out in the game yet, so that's amusing to me. I'd be curious what he's building in his his champ city out here. He could be building a worker, or he could be building more military units. But I am pleased. Ultimately, I'm pleased with this expansion because it's like he's basically locked in, right? He's locked in at 5 cities. And while I do feel like I am at risk, we'll take the endeared status. Yeah, that's pretty solid. So this is our robust guy. We're going to make him tactics anyway. And our wife is still someone we're happy with, so we're going to have them stay happy with us by imprisoning this scholar. Scholars are nice, so maybe I get to release them later. Alright, yeah, so I'm happy with this expansion. It's interesting. Okay, so we have the ability to get a warrior, or we can get more science and another courtier. This is an important decision that I make. I take a look and I notice that he's a schemer of 5 wisdom. So the warrior would be nice, I think, but I'm partial to courtiers anyway. So I opt to take the 5 wisdom schemer because, again, I'm in line to take portcullis in 6 turns, so I'm going to need a good agent and or a good spy master. So that guy with 5 wisdom, schemer, has come in at the exact moment that I need him to come in. That's you couldn't get someone better unless they were like, I don't know, a 6 wisdom scholar or something. So I'm really, really pleased with the arrival of that. I jump on that as soon as I noticed it. The warrior would have been nice. Definitely more units is always good, but that courtier man came in just when I need him. We do have a slinger coming online, which is nice. I'm thinking monasticism. Again, I'm very, very full disclosure. I'm usually when I go in with a plan, I kind of am like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. He's still naive, and I'm keeping an eye on that. But now I'm just so flummoxed with my position, and this stuff makes me nervous, right? There's no way I'm getting in there. Okay, and so this is where I noticed that the entire map is the entire map is Numidians, apparently. So clearing this out is not going to be worth it. Because if he turns around and attacks me while my units are missing, then that'll be just a bad time for me. So I'm going to have to... This part of the video is coming to a close. So I'm now kind of doing post-game analysis for you, going into the next game. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. And this is now where I'm like, oh, crap. I need... That diplomat could have come in handy, because what if I made an alliance with the Numidians? Then I'd be able to freely settle every site using money, which I have a lot of because I have a good trader's seat. And then I could just double that way. But now this is just a shit show. And I'm of the opinion that Jams doesn't know about any of this stuff, so that's funny. I don't know how far he was able to scout. And yeah, the game is going to come to a close here. So I'm basically going to bring this video to an end here. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Old World. We're picking up in part 2 of our network duel against Jams. We have some trouble with the Numidians to the east. And our main situation currently... Let's take a look at the military. We're similar versus naive against Axum. So we have a similar army. He's got 4 spears to, unfortunately, my 8 mounted units and 7 infantry units. So those spears are going to do a lot of damage to me. So we need to be careful and mindful of that. We have a bunch of warriors coming out, which is good. More chariots. We pretty much have a military unit coming out everywhere, and we have twice as many cities as him. So in terms of output and momentum, we should be able to surpass him. But now the concern that I'm having here right now is essentially I want to build a long road network. This is a lot of orders, a lot of time. And I also want to try and be able to fortify this location with actual forts behind this river. This is a very good defensive river for me. I want to try and take advantage of that. I might even need to come up here and chop all of these cities. But basically, I'm just trying to... I want to make sure that I can defend that city before I lose it. Oh, I have a Grand Vizier on the throne. Interesting. This is a diplomat versus an orator. Interesting. I like that. Let's take a look back there. I can't undo, but I like that just because I need to free up my build queues. So then the other thing that we have going on here is that in 3 turns we have a settler from this location, which is actually great. And I think what I want to try and do is buy some food, sell some wood, and buy some stone. And the reason why I'm doing that, I'm trying to give places that are going to be able to produce next turn. I want to give them the resources they need to be able to produce another settler for me. Because again, we're relying on the Grand Vizier to produce here. And I'm trying to make sure that... What do we got here? So this would route, and then it would do 3 damage because of this river. Yeah, so basically what I'm trying to do here is... Ooh. I'm trying to make sure that the Grand Vizier production builds what I want it to build, basically. I have portcullis in 5 turns, so we'll be able to toss some agents up in different locations. We have 10 specialists coming out. We're going to need food for those specialists. And it's really looking like I should back off. Oh, wow, this would be lovely if I could get there, clear this site. But it's really looking like I'm going to have to back off from this location. So... what I'll do is I'll go like this, go like this. I'll just take the kill on my ruler. These guys can hang back here, and it should hopefully be okay. And then, you know, I'm just nervous because I want to be able to chop these woods, but first things first, let's just get this road network continuing along to where we need to go. Can this guy come? Yes, that's lovely. We'll go like this. We'll try and just... All right. See, I'm messing this up now. I'm messing this up because I'm trying to build a road, but I'm also trying to keep stone, right? So, gonna really stress this economy a little bit. Okay, so what else do we have? We can come up here. Okay, we can do this. We can kill these. Okay, and we can come down here, yes. All right, so I don't really mind spending the order. It looks as if this is the new target of this area for raiding. So maybe moving that chariot up isn't the worst idea. And of course, I could always come in here and plan to try and chop a bunch of forests along the river. This would help with scouting, denying his scouting, should I say. And all right, that's going to be that turn. And I really just need to keep an eye on James's power while all this comes down. Maybe I come here. I mean, if he moves up on this, I'm just going to have to retreat, unfortunately. Lots of raids coming from here. I feel like there's like potentially 2 or 3 camps per side, so I might even need to just back off here. I do have... Can he see this yet? No, he cannot. Oh, right, and let's not forget I am a schemer, so I can buy more orders if I need them. Yeah, this is just gross. Clearing this would be lovely, but there's no way I'd be able to hold it right now. 2 zealots and Tactician. The tactician's the worst right now. Did I? Oh, I moved this chariot up over here like a silly goose. Lots and lots of raiders coming in, and it's all targeting me. That's the big pressure I have when it comes to the fact that I'm basically, I don't know, stuck here. I'm the only one on the map, basically, out here on the map. Where's my scouts? Both are right over here, keeping an eye on this territory. Can he reach me? He has exploration. He can reach me. Important to be mindful of that. And he's naive, so there's one level of science beneath me, but he does have 4 laws. His stronghold is complete in one location, possibly in other locations. That's important to keep in mind. And I really just need to be ramping up my stone production. My stone production sucks right now, so I'm going to have this guy come down here and build more cores. See what he's up to. And I guess we will back off, unfortunately. This horse archer is really great. This horse archer will do some decent. These are all fortified. So yeah, this horse archer will do like an 8 damage to a spear, which is really solid. That should offer us some protection from within this city. With portcullis, another interesting alternative. I'm thinking about going for stirrups just to get horse archers to negate that spear advantage. But the thing is, the problem with this, and also I'm thinking about polis for walls, is none of this gets me closer to laws. However, I feel like I can just not bother with laws. Because, I mean, I would just be building heavy chariots into an army of undoubtedly spammed spears. So hopefully what he will do is keep spamming spears, and maybe I get ballistas instead or something. Maybe I come down here and get... I have I have hydraulics marked, so that could be useful. Looks like he's making a movement. Can't tell if that's a retreat. Can't tell if that was a retreat or a step forward. Will be interesting. Oh, he has a scout over here. Fun. I'll just come back and kill it. I very, very much need to make sure that I build. Oh, you know what? I should have saved my stone. That road's going to screw me. Because I need slingers, I need ranged units for if he comes up on this city. He also knows he needs ranged units. I know he has at least 5. I believe there's 3 in here, and then I see 2 more. I think there's 1 in the city center, this one. So he might even have 4, because there could be 1 here. I don't know what he's building in the city, likely military units. Very tense time. If I can get... I need 21 points, while he only has 10 to get a double. So this, I have 10 right now. I would get 1. Let's see here. I would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I would get another 10 points with what I have currently. And I would get 22, it seems. So yeah, let's count this one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 11, 12 by coming down here, which would put me at 22 points. So just settling 1 more city would be enough to get me a double victory. So we are quite close to that. We just need to make sure that he does not get to 12 points. And if he gets to 12 points, then I would need to settle this second city. So, very interesting to see what takes place, what happens. I am the one who's being raided, which is interesting. He still has a hero on the throne, which is right here. And now it's my turn. Let's check it out. He founded some Christianity, which is quite nice. And, yeah. Oh, wow. I am so strong. Oh, man. I kind of want to keep killing stuff. Oh, kill this guy. Get rid of that. I'm tempted. I am tempted to keep killing stuff. I can clear this site. I just know I won't be able to hold it. So it seems like a waste. Right? Okay, we get more science, more civics. And who are you? A scholar. An intelligent scholar. Let's take a look at our court, because remember we're getting scholarships. Sorry, not scholarship, portcullis soon. We need good schemers, which we have. Let's look at our total character situations. So he would be a regular scholar, so 3 wisdom. Our youngest schemer. Oh, wait, we have a bold schemer down here. Versus just a straight up flat science and a bunch of civics. I'm gonna go with the civics and the flat science. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put this guy right here. Because this will hopefully stop these guys from moving. Right? And then maybe I have the ability to, we have a stonecutter here, warrior there, settler, taking a fisher up here. Okay. Okay, so interesting. This is good. And let's see if we can't just get some good movement coming up here. All right. Zostrios. Honestly, I don't care about their opinion. Let's just get this money. We need that money. I need more stone here. Right, speaking of which, let's come down here for a quarry. Didn't I have... Let's keep this guy out here just so he's, like, timid. You know, maybe he'll be timid. And I do want to make sure... What I really, really don't want to do is for him to get stood in... trees here. And given access to my territory. How much damage would he do? Do 5, so we would do even less. So I think I'm safe to come over here. Yeah, do 4. And if he comes out here, he'll be out in the open, so, you know, that'll be a bait. And, do we have a general? No. I'm worried about this guy coming over here and killing him. Let's move up one more. That looks better. And add estates. Who wants estates? I don't want you to have estates. Would you take that? And I'll just kind of come down here. And I'm just going to buy a bunch of stone. And a little bit more food. Oh, shit, I sold way too much metal, but that's okay. I think we'll end it there and send it back to our friend. And I'm really nervous about what's going on here. See if we can't. Oh, you know what? We might be able to. Come over here, do some damage. What would that be? Why is that changing like that? Oh, the flanking. Interesting, the flanking. Okay. Yes, very nervous about our current situation. Top priority is to, well, first of all, kill all this shit. But second of all, can he come back? Nice, cool, cool, cool. Get this settler moving once it's built. Because if he stays beneath 10 points, I'm pretty sure I double. We have another slinger coming out, which is great. Slinger, slinger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the slingers back here behind this line. And that way, if it comes up to, and I'm going to try and maybe fortify. I worry his order economy is better than mine. What's this? Tough, fine. He's building roads now. Okay. So he's spending some stone on roads. That's important to keep an eye out for. 4 turns on portcullis, and let's see how he made out this turn. He's now weaker to my naive. Okay, so this is good. This, I would be very surprised if Jams, I think Jams is going to try and play defensive, maybe try and play for culture. Don't we have the Colosseum in the game for fun? We do. So for fun, we have the Colosseum in the game. That's always delightful. So he may make a play like that, which would be interesting. He does have a builder coming up on the throne. That's a big risk for us in terms of our double victory. It's one of the reasons why it actually would be lovely here. Well, I'm going to let this guy come out and then I'll start repairing. It would be lovely to get another settler out at some point. What's our fastest settler outside of the capital? Seems over there. Seems the trader seat. Yep, and it will happen on the same turn as the Ishtar. That might be worth considering, spending the civics in here. Maybe put the Rising Star in there. Oh, we have the Rising Star. That's the problem. The Rising Star is everywhere. So all of these types of stats, right? Look at the stats that he's giving. I'm getting this monstrous governor everywhere, 5 training. And that's the part that I'm having a little bit of difficulty giving up, because this extra 5 training is what's giving me things like 4-turn slingers in every location. And I really just kind of want to ramp up this military a big deal. I'll probably say, you know what, I can try and get this. Yeah, maybe I'll put this guy holding this spot. Pretty sure with the time that I cleared this, I can get the settler there in time. I'm not spending my training on force marches. Need to keep an eye on this guy. Yeah, so I really would be surprised. He's weaker and naive. I would be shocked, even, not even surprised, blown away, dare I say, if Jams had the, I want to say it in not a condescending way, because it's not condescending, right? It's entirely rational. But if he had like the balls to just move up and attack me while he's both weaker and naive, I would just be blown away, because I definitely think the force that he has in this region can take this city. And the reason why I think this is because I'm scattered. I'm doing stuff, right? He doesn't know about this, but also all he knows is about this number. But if my forces are all over the map, all right, here he comes, yeah, then it doesn't matter that he's currently weaker than me, because he could still take a city. Now, is that worth him spending all of the orders? Honestly, probably not. So I really don't know what his game plan is. I'm just saying I'm nervous about him moving up on me, because I can't really defend this city right yet. Not with what I have, especially while I'm amusingly and shockingly still keeping the idea. How do I want to handle this? Because I want to kill as much of this shit as I can, right? Wow, this would just be delightful. What is that, a river? Yeah. Oh, you know what I really need? I need my best friend down here. Move him up. Wow, these crits. It's just these one-offs are just killing me, though. I am tempted to look at to find the location of the other site. Silly. That was silly of me. Great. We'll see if this guy decides to try and respawn this site. But I don't think that's how they work. I think he'd aggro me first. All right, well, anyway, back to this reality. Come over here. And let's just go whack, whack. And we'll try and go whack, whack, whack. We'll go ahead and we'll put the road there. And it looks like we're running out of orders. So. Okay, a couple more turns on some more slingers. I really don't want to run out of orders, though. But it looks like we're running out of orders. Well, we'll go ahead and repair this guy. And we have more fellas coming up. You have a governor. Interesting. Do you have a governor? What do I want to do here? Oh, 5 turns on a settler here. And 4 turns on a settler here. So maybe what we do instead... Now here's a question. I don't think that would stay 5 turns. 4 turns, rather. Because I would swap out this governor who's currently adding in like 4 point something growth. Right? Yeah, so that would probably stay 5 turns. So honestly... Oh shit, I can't do that. Is anybody else developed? Haha, my trader seat is actually of all places. So a little... I think this is the way to go here. What's my city total? So 3, 3, 2. So I need one more trader site and I need one more location, one more hunter's site. Not hunters. Yeah, so in fact, I like this idea. Am I out of orders? I am. Well, we'll get this up. Yeah, and it did go up to 5, but in fact, I'm actually going to spend the 500 civics here and just get this going. We're going to try and end this real quick. And you're far away. No, you're going to finally build a worker, for Christ's sake. I'll take the culture. And yeah, that's my turn. All right, so yeah, we can still come up here and do some damage if we need to. And if they decide to come in and take a spot, that will suck, but I'm sure we can clear it. Okay. Right, it looks like we found another location over here. And I would hope that's the last one, but we'll find out. They did move up, which is great. Wow, great. I have 1 turn on a slinger here, and that slinger is priority move. I really want the slinger to get into this region, and the reason for that is because it's just important. Who are you? He's raiding Axum, so I'm just going to back off, and hopefully he just keeps moving forward. Give Jam some things to spend his order on. In fact, I'm being so stupid right now. I am clearing Jam's raiders. What I don't like, though, is that this raiding path, the reason why I am doing this is that this raiding path is crossing in my direction. But that's actually raiding Jams. I didn't notice that. So I think I killed another raider already, and I shouldn't have done that. But with him being melee, I believe he'll just keep going onward. So let's see if we can explore that. they'll come down back over here, and I'll maybe fortify him. I'm hoping we can get this cleared out soon. Yeah, and then so it'll be the same setup. One camp here, so we'll have like one camp right here, and then another one up there. So then another one like right. So like there'd be a camp down here, I think is how it would be. Yeah, right here. So a camp here, camp up here. Seems about right. And we have 2 settlers coming out, and we want to get both of those settlers into the locations that they need to be inside of hopefully 4 turns. And double should still be on, correct? Yeah, double is enabled. And all right, he's fully connected here. His road network is fully connected here. He's chopping trees. Makes sense. He's building mines. Staying developed. Great. It's a bummer. Oh, man. I just keep not getting the kill potential here. Is so great. But I keep not getting it. And really, honestly, just having so many cities is helpful. I just need to make sure. Oh, I need to build. I want to build a Jewish disciple just so Judaism passes to. Oh, that's what I should build. I should build a Jewish disciple just so I. Oh, shit. So I can build one of those wonders. Because if he builds either of his wonders, that'll also help him avoid being doubled out. I hadn't thought of that. So he spent 1, 2. Is this a trader? No. Interesting. This one is. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. At least 5, 6 orders on roads. I'm not spending enough legitimacy on my final bout of orders, so we're really going to do that. And we're going to do that with, what is it, double force march? With a full force march. Is this full forced march? There's no way. Oh, wow, the Numidians are now Jewish, which is amazing. Maybe we can be friends someday. All right, well, we'll get loyal. Maybe we can be friends someday. You're going to come here. You're just going to back off. You're going to just do that. And you, my friend, are going to hop up here. Great. And now we're going to go like... this. Like this. Great. All right, so priority on settlers. Priority on settlers. Now I'm gonna force march one anyway, right? I want the extra orders. So it is double. So I'm nervous. I'm gonna come in and move him down. And I will, in fact, you know what I'll do? I'll force march the one that's further away, right? That feels like it makes sense. And then just kind of, how do I want to do this? I could just come straight across, right? Yeah, I guess I could just do that. I don't like that there seemed... Oh, well, because there's a unit here. Still... How do I want to do this? In fact, it actually makes sense to come down here. I fucked this up because if this guy keeps building units. All right, so there's that. All right, so we do have a builder here. Is there anything I want to build here that would be cool to build? That takes 3,000 gold. All right, we can keep that in mind. How much does this take? 6,000 gold. We can also keep that in mind. We're going to need some farms, so we might as well farm again. And we're going to say goodbye to our current vision capabilities because I'm going to go out on a limb and assume both are in here. Crazy. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that Adwa has his best science rate. I do not know that for sure. I'm guessing that. But I want to get over here and establish a... I can actually take a peek over here. I have 2 turns. Oh, and you know what I didn't do? Fuck. Oh no, this is the problem. I didn't pay attention to over here at all. This is a really, really big problem. Hopefully they all fire on this guy still, because I can't lose this really good unit. 2 turns on another slinger. We have 4 turns on another slinger. This is great. So our sling, we're just gonna sling, sling, sling. So he's moved twice. This, he did 1, 2, and I think this guy would have had to move 3, 4. So this is 4 orders right there on him. That's great. Great. Wonderful. And I'm just going to have to take this guy down and take a peek because I really, really don't want to loot. If I have to force march, I'll force march. But I want to make sure I get there. I might need to hop this guy off in the correct amount of time. Oh, of course this is a melee unit. Of course it's a melee unit. Why wouldn't it be a melee unit? Annoying. Exploration would be delightful. So this will take at least 1 more order from him, which is great. And he still has 4 laws, and he's weaker and naive, which is also fantastic for me. The big problem I'm running on right now is so much of my science. 12 of it, call it 13, is coming from my king. So in reality, my science is 30 per turn compared to whatever he's making, which I'm going to assume is higher. So here's hoping Portcullis really pays off with some good character science. I know I got a good schemer last time. I got really excited by this fella here, Jugurtha. He's 30. He's got 5 wisdom. He's doing pretty solid. He's probably not fond of the fact that we're at war, but, you know, hey, what are you going to do? Eventually there will be no Numidian. I mean, maybe I truce out with the Numidians. If they offer me truce, I'll take it. Or peace or whatever. Let's not forget that I can do some clearing over here. I got a little sidetracked. I mean, moving these settlers is a huge, huge, huge priority, but don't want to get too sidetracked from it. Honestly, I could probably run up here. How? Oh, yeah. See, that road, though, is pretty solid. That road prevents me from kind of coming in and swiping at these slingers just cause now he can counter with one of these spears. I mean, if I lose a chariot, I lose a chariot, but, you know, you never really want to lose a chariot. Wow. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I have the pyramids, which is great. We'll abandon the child to the elements. My second in line will be a robust. What's my current one in line? We don't know yet. So our second will be a robust. Oh boy. I really like the idea of a robust commander, especially because we have all this territory, right? And then our child. This is the actual heir. So we have two current options. This fella was adopted. We've surpassed this guy. And it might go to my grandson. So interesting. I'm tempted to either give myself another military guy or just go economics. Tactician, zealot, judge, builder, scholar. Zealot would be great. Scholar would be great. Or schemer. What's the other one? Scheme. So, interesting. Tactics still gives me a shot at a schemer. But do I want another scholar, potentially? Can I tutor him? Let's find out. I can tutor him with Jugurtha. And the highest chance... All right, yeah, so we'll go scholar. We'll do... All right, so we get Zenobia here. Okay. All right, we'll do that, and we will go philosophy. So he's going to come... This child is going to be really good when it comes to opinion. What happens if I go... Oh, see, this is just a nightmare. Well, we'll go like this. Like this, and then I'll come in here. That way that puts me in... Ooh, steadfast. Really like the idea of steadfast. Also like the idea of bloodthirsty. Or tough. That's a tough call. That is a tough call. Well, he's damaged. Oh, man. How old are you? 39? I mean, we have a lot of damage in the area. Do we really need steadfast? I don't know. I want this guy to heal the hell up, though. Alright, well. We'll do... tough. Because that can throw off some damage calculations. Oh. Hate this. Okay, well, back to this. Kill him. Back to our settlers. Well, first things first. Take a peek. What's going on? All right, so 7 turns. We have plenty of turns. So, settler. And settler. Great. But we still want our schemer moving. And so this fella is just going to go road, 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 road. So now that's nice because now we can come get here, right? And then we'll be able to road, road, road. And that'll give us a good jump. And then we'll just road, road. We'll maybe do the same thing, road up. Or, yeah, no, I guess we'll just road here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So we'll do it like that. Great. Solid. Okay. So that's all of that stuff. 7 turns on this. This has infinite amount of turns. So what are we looking at? What else are we looking at? Should probably move up other units. Right, so this guy should get into the area, into the region. Well, actually, yeah. This is a bait. If he comes out here in the open, I do have a horse that can hit him. And I have force march potential. So I guess what we'll just do is maybe do something like this. 1 move. One move, move that. And like just kind of get everybody slowly, gradually moving up. All right, turn. And we got portcullis next turn. Oh, what I didn't do was move this guy, but that's fine. We'll just do it next turn. All right, so he has another spear out. So let's take. So he just finished at least one spear, maybe two, and he's still weaker. Solid, 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 solid. Weaker naive. Oh, I'm thrilled. This is going great. Take a look back here. All right. Apparently I didn't finish this attack like a big, big dummy. All right, I can finish with this. How many turns on this? Two? That actually, yeah, two. I think I might win this off a double no matter what, right? So let's do this math one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll get 5 points off the weak cities. 6, 7 off of this. I'll be at 20. Yeah. So I think what I just need to do is get this down here. Get this down here. Should win off a double unless he gets like... Unless he gets 4 points in the next approximately 4 turns. I think I win. We're presenting a little bit of a food issue. This guy needs to build a quarry. Or come up here and build some food. Both good options. Priority 1 is establishing our agent network. Again, there's only one specialist here, so I'm confident this does not have good science. This was his second. Yeah, so really it's a question of the capital. I'm assuming there's a specialist here. Looks like he probably has a specialist here, but some of this could be border boost, right? We know he got Zoro, so I'm assuming this has an acolyte, this has an acolyte, so we could potentially have 2 acolytes. But I don't believe he has military drill yet, so there's no officers up here. So I'm targeting this location because my hope is that he has his elder specialist by now, which I would assume, and if he has a judge in here at all, I would like to assume that maybe he has some pearl specialists. So I'm eyeballing this as the possible highest science output. I'd like to be able to get vision on this capital, but, you know, that's just going to have to wait. What's on my draw pile? My draw pile is coinage. So looking at this, stirrups is coming up. What else would I like? The bonus onager, the bonus maceman are both high value priorities here. So if those come up for free, I might as well grab them just because I also need to, well, I would have to discard them and I don't want to discard either of them. Between the two of them, obviously the onager. If neither of them come up, I'm thinking rhetoric because exploration it would be key here along this northern river stretch. You can see he can kind of come out here, and it's because he has explorations. Speaking of which, he still only has 4 laws. Right, so he can come as far as I can go into him, basically. And clearly I'm a horse, so you'd think that gives me better movement, except for the fact that he has exploration, so he can do 3 along this river. So I would like, actually, give you a little bit of example. See? Like this stretch right here. All right, so we spent that 1 order to clear that guy. And this is another good thing of, right? Each one of these, I think I went over this last video, each one of these fortifications was an order per bubble. So you're looking at 5, 10, 15, and then each one of these fortifications, I believe, was 2 turns because of mountains. So we're looking at 5, 10, 15, 1. Oh no, there. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 23 orders to set all this up in addition to the movement. So that's nice. And then the roads, right? So this would, as much as I'm spending all of my orders kind of stretching myself across the map, this bit of intimidation that he's under has been taxing his order economy quite a bit as well. So that's nice. This sucks. I hate this. Yes, a double victory. Points required is 21, right? Yep. So we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which gets us to 20. Yep, one settle will get us to 21. And I believe that will remain true for as long as he's under. As long as he has 10 points or under, 21 is the total. And then if he gets to 11, 22 is the total. 12 makes it 24. 13 would make it 26. Right, so basically, if we're going to double him out, we need to do this before he hits about 13 points. All right, so this is interesting. This is very, very interesting to me. We got Glorious, which is great. He now has his builder on the throne, which is not great. Because... Shit, I'm going to have to buy... Shit. Oh, man, this sucks. Can you make it all the way down here? No. You could. You could. Where we will do this. I think this will do it, right? Interesting. So the builder makes me nervous because if he stacks workers to do any or disciples in 2 turns, to do anything in 2 turns, that's going to be a bad time for us. Wow, we're building a scout there. Definitely don't want that, but go do what you got to do, Grand Vizier. All right, so we have our first lovely, lovely, lovely thing. Oh, come up over here. Okay, he's got a raid. Oh, interesting. Love that. So, we have 12 science per turn, and it just doesn't get much better than that. In fact, that'll go even higher, won't it? No, it doesn't. 12 science per turn. So that's just delightful. Now we can create an agent network to get ourselves nothing. Shit. Shit. Well, the oligarch science is still good. So now, here's the question. Here's the question. I could do another 10 turns. He's got 4 loss. And I could upgrade every single one of my... This would be so funny to me. I could upgrade every single one of my... Let's take a look here. Sorry, I keep... This is 9, 11. All right. Yeah, let's just do... Let's just clear this out. Oh, wait, I don't even need to spend training. I forget. Okay. Magnificent. Oh, boy. So we have... Let's do the math on this. We will take out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 plus 24 is 22. I think we win next turn. So I don't think this really matters. But the question, that what I think would be funny would be going to stirrups and mass upgrading whatever chariots. How many chariots do we have? Oh, man. I think I'm going to do that anyway. That'll be fun. That'll be a fun backup. I think what the reason is because, again, look at this, right? There's no good example because they're all in the woods. But anyway, I think I showed it earlier in the video or maybe last video, but the horse archers will do full damage to spears. Let's look at this. Let's look at this real quick, and then I'll end my turn because yeah. So anti-mounted is 50% melee defense and attack versus combat. So basically, ranged horse archers beat the shit out of these guys. Is the point that I'm trying to make, and that's just delightful. So I really like that as an idea. Do I want to make some fun with this guy? Let's take a peek. How far can he reach? Quite a while. They all can reach pretty far. Yeah, so, all right. So we want to come up and strike. Heal. Heal. Let's come up over here. That's lush. We'll build a farm. And you'll also come down here with your one order and build a farm. And that'll be our turn. Do we need to? Yeah, we already did this. And I think we win next turn. And if not, even if he bumps up 2 points, I don't even think he would have it. Let's take one last look at this. 21. He would need to bump up to 11 points. He would need to bump up 3 points next turn. And then I could still win off of settling the next settler, I think. So the question, yeah, we're going to get a big dump either way. So, and by big dump, I mean all of these cultures are going to give me culture events. We're going to get we're going to get the 6 culture events. And that's the case for waiting, because not only do you get more culture events by me waiting and settling, but he would have had the point. It's his turn already, so he would have had his 8th point by now. So this should be GG. And what did that put us at? About an hour? Yeah, that makes sense. So I think that gives us about a 3-hour game in total. And unfortunately, if you watched the first part of this, you will know that I kind of missed out. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't add an agent here. Well, yeah, because it doesn't add me any science. Well, that means some civics per turn, so I could do that. That's a bummer, man. But I do have some good. I have 12 here, 9 here, so not the end of the world, but that's solid. Solid. I could get 0.6 growth. Oh, I could get 1.2 growth everywhere. We'll do that. I like that. Wasn't really paying attention to my Chancellor, because I didn't really need it. Chancellor can be useful in this situation. Sometimes you can run into opinion issues. You know, I have traders, so I could have absolutely slotted in a Chancellor here and done some family gifts, but I was kind of heavily relying on decent Judaism and also landowners loving me, because landowners always loves me, because I love landowners. The Ishtar double, always a surprise. I'm curious if Jams will have clocked this victory pattern. He did, just for the record, he did set up all of the settings of the game, so it was his choice to leave on the double victory. I always give my opponents, for the most part anyway, every now and then I'll express a preference, but for the most part, I'm happy to play whatever settings my opponent finds most comfortable. And I also, to be clear, Jams is still feeling out dueling, so no. I started playing multiplayer last year for the first time at the invitation of our good community friend Alcaris. A lot of fun. And if you're catching this video around the time it was released, feel free, if it's not September 1st yet, 2025, feel free to join in the multiplayer duelist tournament. We have signups on the Discord channel, and I will be playing in it. I haven't signed up yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm playing in it. Alcaris is in it. The Purple Bull Moose is in it. Our friend Jams is in it. A new member named Aaron, who seems to be a pretty decent player. He did a really fun write-up on Civ Fanatics about a game on the Great that he played. So there's about 5 of us so far. Will be double elimination, dual tournament, so similar maps like this. And you're kind of head-to-head, 50 to 100 turns, give or take, victories. I believe double victory will be optional, so, don't worry, you won't constantly be racing towards an Ishtar bomb. But that was one of the advantages of rushing to chariots is even though you can hit a literal wall like this, where even if these mountains weren't here, just a few spears will just shut down, again, 8 mounted units, right? It doesn't take a lot to shut these down, the melee ones especially. So you'll run into that regardless if people pick up that on the fact that you are. All right. Interesting. I can actually. Well, this is. What's funny is I actually asked. I asked for this, I think, or some version of this. This is weird that I can. I can choose not to take the double victory. Well, let's go around. I want to see what events I get first, because that's cool. So we'll get a Cohen, which is nice. Definitely taking the 200 stone. We'll do that. To Anawa. I don't really care about more culture, so I'll take the science. And no, I still want to just get all these events first. Ooh, I can get an extra scout, which I want in the orders. This, well, because interestingly enough, this might actually influence if I decide to keep playing or not. But I'm pretty sure I'm just going to take the win. That's awkward. Oh man, yeah, this is awkward. This is incredibly awkward. I have mixed feelings on this now, but yeah, we're gonna. I like feel bad actually being like, no, too like it's weird because I just built the Ishtar Gate, right? So it shouldn't actually matter. So anyway, yes, we're gonna double it out, and I won. That's funny. Okay. Wow. So he hadn't completed his Elder Shopkeeper yet. That's why that value was low. Let's see what we've got over here. 8.6 to 3.7. Yeah, so okay, I got that wrong. All right, I got that wrong. It was awkward because the game still gave the. All right. All right, everybody. Before we close out from that, we just ended our conversation with Jams. Before we close out, I'm just going to do one quick recap for everybody still watching at this point. We lost our connection server. That's fine. So, um, very interesting tech path. Very kind of like Hittites, spoked wheel, free heavy chariot. Let's see what we can do with our chariots. Risky play. Admittedly, in some ways, this turtle fortress actually ended up helping us a lot. It was an issue because like if we could just zoom straight across the map without like if all down here was up here, I probably could have killed him right away, or certainly taken some cities, right? But he was just able to get those spears up and lock himself in there, and which at first was very bad, but it ended up working out because we were able to do this double shenanigans. But even without the double shenanigans, I would have had, if double were not on, like I said to him, I already had a settler right here. I would have just taken this worker off of the Ishtar Gate. Well, I can't do it now because the game's over. I would have taken the worker off of the Ishtar Gate and kind of held it at 2 turns worth of production, right? You can kind of bounce him off and on. And I would have cleared this, probably settled far out here. And then the only thing I may not have done is, I don't know, maybe I would have. I would have kept keeping an eye on what he's doing with these units. I would have waited for him to come to me, basically. That's the other thing. I had Slinger here, another warrior, some more Slingers here. I would have filled this back zone with slingers, cleared out all of these woods, and I would have just kept fortifying. The other thing I was thinking about after stirrups, what do we have? Was polis, because with portcullis I have a moat, so just kind of doing a wall and a moat here, and then maybe a wall and a moat here, and basically just kind of running him down in terms of development. So one thing that the double victory kind of spared both of us and from is just kind of delaying the inevitable, because as long as Jam sat out here, I don't think I would have attacked into him. The only thing I didn't know, as I also expressed, was what his science was at. So let's just take a look at this. This is very lucky of me. I still am on my first ruler, who is the Magnificent. He's 67 years old. That never happens to me, especially in duels. I always have shit luck, and my first ruler dies at like age 32. But so we started with a lead in science because of the schemer. And then this is the part that you start getting worried, right? Like, let's say around 30, turn 33. I'm making probably about, call it 10 to 12 science here. So this is where I'm worried about, if I lose my ruler, well, then my science is going to drop back down to here. But the important thing to think about that I'm now noticing while I look at this chart, if even, well, I guess right around here, yeah. If I lost 10 science per turn, he would have jumped above me, right? So I would have went down to 20 and he would have been at 28. So portcullis really came in clutch here, because now I have somebody generating the 12 science per turn, and I have other good options. The Cohen, who I just got off of that event, was another 10 science per turn. Any other agents? No, not really. So that, I feel like I'm feeling pretty confident that we could have closed this out the long way, because like I said, I would have come over here, and let's take a look at these guys. Did I lose that guy? Oh, this guy was still alive. Yeah, we could have cleared this site pretty seamlessly, with come in with a horse archer. Yeah, that would have been enough. And just boom, boom, and then clear that out. So we would have had 1, 2, 3. We already have 9. So that would have been 10, 11, 12 cities. And then I don't know if I would or wouldn't have cleared this out. Probably would have, knowing that the game would go long. That would have given me every single city site in the game except the Danes, who seem to be raiding him because I haven't met them yet. So that's always fun. And then I would have gotten, the other thing that I was thinking about to break in there, I would have gotten hydraulics, which you can see is targeted here. Horse archers, just for fun, because that would also have made this whole open area a nightmare to come into, because anything that is in a spear, I would be able to route and hit with the, the horse ability, mounted ability, right? And anything that was a spear, I would be able to hit with a horse archer. So, and I was planning to chop this. I probably would have chopped all of this. So he would have just had vast open territory to come out into me. And while he was turtled here, the reality is I would have had no reason to attack him for the rest of the game. Even without trying to get the full point total of getting 42 points, I just feel like what I could have done was get hydraulics, which would have gotten me ballistas, which would have got me the crossbow, and most importantly, remember, I would have had, that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 cities, right? That would have all been developed because of the Ishtar Gate, and then I would have been able to put 2 mills in every single city. So that would have been like another 40 science or something like that. So that's another thing to think about. My science and resource production would have been through the roof, because, again, I would have just been building warriors and slingers, stockpiling this region. Once I'm cleared, right, would have moved my chariots and everything forward to this region. I would have held firm on this plain, waiting for him to come to me. So while he's turtling, I'm turtling. But I'm turtling with way, way more development. So maybe by the time I get the mounted crossbows and a bunch of ballistas, then I'm ready to go, and then I would charge in with ballistas, and I think he would have collapsed to that instead. We just saved ourselves, call it 50 turns. Yeah. And like I had also said to him, which you heard, I don't know what I would do in his situation. to be honest. Getting so vastly out expanded like this, when he was here clearing or maybe settling the city, I came up here with a couple of horses and cleared this city, and then I settled it. Maybe the play there would have been to be aggressive, but he didn't have spears yet, and that's a thing to be worried about because I cleared all this territory. I made it clear. So it's definitely a tricky spot. I definitely appreciate him for the game. Any other stats that I want to check out? This was our science. Interesting. My income ended up being better than his as well. Food. My food was high and then dipped. This is because all the chariots. Iron. His iron was way better than mine. His stone was also way better than mine. So that's good for him. Training was similar. Civics on me, that makes sense. I'm Hittites. And then what else we have? Military score. So yeah, I kind of jumped up ahead of him and stayed ahead of him throughout the game. And that's another thing that all the cities were going to come up with, because I can develop my core same as he was doing while also having, another half a dozen or so build queues, even just building crap like slingers. Doesn't matter. It's just still producing more and more stuff for me at the time. And then the one thing that we checked the legitimacy. Legitimacy was pretty good. He suffered a death, and I also achieved magnificent. So that's lucky. And yeah, final tech path one more time. Didn't do divination, which I found interesting. Didn't do aristocracy, also interesting. Really just ended up in a position where I wasn't pleased with where my tech path was. I was worried about that science drop from when my ruler died. So I pretty much got myself into portcullis. And yeah, we would have gotten that onager out here. And that could have been interesting, maybe an onager on a hill to do some damage. But anyway, basically the last 30 minutes of this video has just been me talking. So I appreciate you for watching this game. I appreciate you for tuning in, sticking with us. And please like, please subscribe, and check us out for more content. All right, everybody. Have a great week.